Yo, what's good? What's good, chat? Let's go. Let's go. Second one. Still ain't got the banner set up yet all the way, but we just gonna do this simple, man. We're gonna keep it light and heavy. We just gonna keep it raw, uncut. You know what I'm saying? Um, so let me pull these stats back up, man. And I see a lot of our fans had a lot of gripes and complaints about everything, man. But let's break it down real quick. I'm gonna give my point of view, and y'all just tell me how y'all feel about it. This ain't gonna be no long show, man. We got better shows to get to. But yeah, so check this out. We just watched Alabama win 30-6. Should have been more points. We could say that, but what we did see was less penalties. We saw better execution on the defensive side of the ball. That's some of the positives. Uh, Still seeing the same vanilla play calling from Bill O'Brien, and nobody's happy about that. You can't be satisfied with how things are looking on the offensive side. I feel like Bryce Young is having to do too much to create for the offense, and that's a direct reflection of the play calling. Simple as that. Um, so I feel like we can just if we just get a little bit more extravagant on the offensive side, if we're going to be a simple offense, let's call plays that we're effective at when we keep it simple. Simple thing is the inside run, whether it's a dive, where it's a counter in between the B and C gap, like starting and working your way inside out, getting guys to flow, what we call flowing traffic. Cleaning up blocks, sweeping blocks through to open up holes instead of trying to get guys to turn guys every time. We use the defensive line and linebackers momentum, their gap momentum against them, and a lot of running backs to make the reads. Um, Believe it or not, we have great pulling guards on the offensive line. Why are we not running plays where the guards can pull and get out and be physical? They're athletic. We have a lot of athletic offensive linemen. I believe Tyler Booker is a great offensive lineman, athletic. J.C. Latham is athletic. Tyler Steen is playing a lot better and more consistent. I saw him handling his one-on-ones today. And Javian Cohen, minus the mental mistakes throughout the year, he's probably the second most consistent offensive lineman we have. My only gripe on the offensive line right now is seeing Darren Dallencourt out there. I feel like he's though he played decent tonight. I mean, he didn't have to deal with too many 5-man pressures. He didn't have to deal with a 6-man pressure. Mississippi State wasn't aggressive at all. Our offensive line did buy Bryce plenty of time, and they would protect him very well. A lot of plays where he was in trouble, it was his own doing. So, and then also I see a lot of complaints about the wide receivers not getting separation. I okay, let's do this. I'm a wide receiver coach. I believe in playing your wide receivers or using your play calling to your player strengths, what your weapon strengths. So if you have strong wide receivers, big wide receivers who have sub 4.4, low 4.5 speed, you don't try to use them to stretch the field at every 70% of your play calling. Those type of receivers, usually they're good in space after they have the ball. They're usually strong in space once they get the ball. So you usually want to try to get the ball in their hands quicker. We don't see Bill O'Brien running any crossing patterns. We don't see Bill O'Brien running anything that's causing the defense to move out of their concepts. Even in man coverage, you're not causing guys. You're not making guys on the defense side make decisions. They're literally able to stick with their one assignment throughout the whole play call. Excuse me, I'm just yawning for no reason, but I'm not tired. But you're allowing the defense to sit there and just, not move. They don't have to move. They could literally pass players off if they want to in zone because the route concepts are just elementary. One thing that Kiffin and Sarkisian and even Brian Daboll and Mike Loxley, what they thrived in doing with their quarterbacks and their wide receivers even though we had generational talents in the four horsemen come through during those time frames, and Calvin Ridley and Robert Foster, guys like that. Um, you guys got to remember, man. The route concepts always left the secondary confused. You couldn't just play straight up man. It was very few teams that could play man to man with us. And I mean like LSU for their run as DBU, they were the one of the few that could rock with us. Auburn one year had a stacked secondary. I believe Ole Miss one year had a nice solid secondary. Florida, whenever we saw them, they always had a solid secondary. So concept and route concepts and scheme was very important. And I think that's what Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian, especially even Mike Loxley, I think they thrived in that because they always created a mismatch. We said this weeks ago. They always created a mismatch. So you don't see a lot of the number two receivers running quick inside release routes. It seems like all of our concepts are being stretched outside. And that makes it easy because you're not testing the middle. You're making your big tight end trying to force him to be a threat in the middle of the field, but you're making him work deep intermediate routes, instead of getting him in the mix, making linebackers move out of the middle of the field. He's not sending guys across the linebacker's face to make them move out of their zones and make a decision. Can I just sit here and spy Bryce, or do I have to pick up on this guy that's crossing my face? And then you're swinging the running back out the backfield. You're bubbling him out every time. You're giving him the Texas route, or you're trying to put him in one-on-one situations with a safety when that's not what running back should be primarily used for. Yes, it's great that we have a Jahmyr Gibbs and a Jace McClellan that could catch the ball great out the backfield, but you don't want to continue to put those guys in those situations because, as you can see, safeties and linebackers start sitting on those routes. And when that's your only option is check down, you're setting those guys up to get their heads taken off. So definitely the route concepts hinder our wide receivers. And when you do have burners like Isaiah Bonds on the sideline or in the game, or I even think Kobe Prentice is a great has good top end speed. But you got guys like Jermaine Burton, who is clearly a high 4.4 guy, meaning he's running a 4.48, close to a 4.5. You can see that Ja'Cory Brooks is a 4.4, 4.48 guy, 4.51 guy. You can see that Trayshawn Holden is a solid 4.49, 4.51 guy. And those are good speeds to be that 6 foot. And Holden and Brooks, they're 6 feet. Roughly 185, 195 in that weight. You want to see those guys being able to run those type of speeds. That's great, but I'm not going to be using them to run, ceiling routes. I'm not using them to stretch the field, deep comebacks maybe, quick slants, freaking stick routes. I mean, stuff that gets them to advantage to use their bodies, and then when you do roll them out to run deep routes, have them bend inside and force the seam defense. Force the safety to respect them, and put them out towards the sideline so they could use their body. Deep flag routes, corner routes. Special K concept where you got the seam and the dig or the corner route falling off of it. Off on the outside. So I'll be able to explain this more if we do our late night talk show with Justin Riley. But those are just some of my observations. Offensive line play great. I think the running back room does great when they have opportunities. And that I don't think I don't know how many rushing attempts we had this game, but I know it wasn't over 20. And I mean like meaningful rushing attempts, meaningful game time where it actually mattered. I don't think these guys get a chance to showcase their abilities, nor does the offensive line get a chance to. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 carries for 37 yards. This guy was averaging 7 yards a carry when Bryce was out. Like, how do we go away from that? And then Jace McClellan as the relief back. He was averaging 6.3 yards a carry. How do you go away from that? Especially in crunch time. We up by 20. We up by 20 coming out of halftime, and you don't see You see more pass plays. You see Bryce dropping back. Why? There's no need for him to pass stats. We're not in a pad and stats type season. Let's see. We got 10 carries by Jameer Gibbs, 6 carries by Jace McClellan, and 6 by Roydell Williams. Like, that's not enough, man. That's barely 20 carries. That's barely 20 carries. Bryce doesn't need to drop back in when you got 3 high safety. He doesn't need to have. And that's another thing. That's why he's having to hold the ball so long, because these guys were playing soft over the top coverage and just relying on their guys underneath to pass everything off. And they live with their 3-man rush for the most part of the game. And it came back to bite him because of the creativity of Bryce. And finally, we see guys, trying to break open using scramble drills. I'm still not sold on Jermaine Burton. I know he made 2 decent catches, but this guy, he's horrible at making reads in his option routes. And so Jermaine Burton, kudos to you for your 2 catches and 40 yards, but still not being effective when it's needed. JoJo Earl, he's becoming a lot more comfortable. You could tell he's pushing off the ball hard. Trayshawn Holden, trusting his hands more. Ja'Cory Brooks is still being the big time player. Just need to see more consistency out of him. Latu, he's just a hard worker. We can't discount what Latu brings to the team. He has his drops, but Latu is a hard worker. I wish he would get back to his mindset of being dedicated to the blocking. I wish we could see Kisselman, the JUCO transfer tight end. I wish we could see him, because I feel like that guy's just another Latu. If we're going to be running Latu like we are, we might as well try Kittleman. So who else? Isaiah Barnes and Kobe Prentice steadily growing. I think we need to see more Kendrick Law too. I think Kendrick Law is going to be a problem when he finally gets a fair opportunity. I think we've invested too much energy into Jermaine Burton. He's our weak link in the wide receiver room, and I'm gonna stick by that. But overall, decent game. I give this game overall team grade. I give it a A minus, B plus. I give it a strong B plus, and it's not discounting what the players did. It's literally offensive play calling. I will say this. I give Pete Holden his props. He allowed those defenders to play football, and you could tell guys who are comfortable with playing the pass. I still think we need to give Terry Arnold the other corner spot give him a chance across from Eli Ricks. I feel like the game changes when you have a lockdown corner on one side, and it gives the other corner a little bit more confidence knowing that he's the corner with over the top help. That gives him less technique to think about playing. You really use that over the top help to your advantage, and just keep stay tight, stay in the wide receiver's hip, and trust your technique. I think that's what Alabama ends up going to do, and that's what makes us effective in the pass rush. When you have coverage that can cover for 3 to 5 seconds, and allow your defensive line and linebackers and those edge rushers to get in there and take on contact, shed contact, and get to the quarterback. So overall, strong B plus, maybe A minus for today's game. It's your boy Coach Smook, and I'm out of here, man. Appreciate y'all showing up, showing love. Hey, we're gonna do this every week. Quick post game reactions, and I catch y'all on the other side, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through, and like I said, man, it's your boy Coach Smook, and I'm out of here, baby.